Welcome to the Outer Realm with MicheleDerocher and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM from the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM from beautiful New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee, who have been a part of our journey for the last few years. So thank you, Folgers. We couldn't do it without you, nor would we want to. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, for the contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for the intro you just heard. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind the banners and logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Does phenomenal commission pieces of any type. So you name it, he can do it. So tonight, guys, we have a very special guest, Don Yazzie. We're going to be getting into exploring the mysteries of the Navajo Nation, which is going to be, amazing stories and experiences of Skinwalkers, Sasquatch, little people, ET abductions, Dogman, you name it. Honestly, when I started talking to Don, I thought, what the heck hasn't this guy experienced? And why are we waiting so long just to get this interview done? Because as soon as we were connected by my friend Kat over Paranormal Heart, I said, no, I don't want to wait. So anyway, close as I could get him, and because we had an opening, because we have long waiting lists. So everything happens for a reason. Remember, tonight we are on Rumble, we are on Roku TV, we are on X, we are on at least 3 different YouTube platforms, a couple of Facebooks, including iCar and including The Outer Realm. So feel free to catch us anywhere there. I can see everybody's chats except for Roku TV. It does not come to the soundboard, obviously. And also, please note, we go to the pace of our guest. I will flag some of your comments up. I will tag some of your questions, and we will definitely get to them. Hi, Janie. Oh, no, I'm solo tonight. No, Amelia. Still down. Hello, Heidi. Hi, Kurt. How are you? Hello. Oh, yay. Hi, Kitty. Welcome. Mark from the UK, hello. You're a champion. I can't believe it, because I'm pretty sure now you're on proper UK time, which puts you, 2 a.m.? So I always say you are a champ. Teresa, hello. So without further ado, our special guest, Don Yazzie. Hello. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing good. Hi, Alan. People just chiming in, and I think we're all pretty excited to 2 a.m. for you, Mark. I know. My gosh. So all the way from the UK. See, somebody's actually staying up for 2 a.m. for this, which is great. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Dolly. Hello. All right. Oh, I'm getting a bit of feedback. Oh, yeah. That's Mark most times. He's pretty much hangs in there for us. So we're very fortunate to have great people. And this is for you. I cannot pronounce that.
You're saying hello.
Very nice. Well, welcome, Kitty. And thank you. So I've really been looking forward to this. It is such a pleasure to meet you. And I cannot wait to get this started. I have to know, what brought you into researching all of this, like personal experiences, the oral history, the curiosity? Where do you want to start? This is your show, so we go at your pace and wherever direction you want to take it.
Okay, it all started when they said no. I'll just kidding.
I would
Well,
have done the same thing.
don't tell me to do it because I'll do it. No, I'm just kidding. But growing up on the Navajo Nation, I'm from a area called Monument Valley, and growing up, I guess we're just used to, you know, something trying to get in the house, trying to knocking on the windows, running on the roof, all the dogs fighting, some dogs be gone, some dogs be beat up, half to death, and your livestock going missing. And you hear the older ones saying, "Don't ever go out. Don't go outside at night. If someone's knocking on the you stay inside." Especially when the moon is full. We had a lot of visitors, especially, and
Wow.
yeah,
That's
and
intense for a little kid. Like,
yeah,
say,
yeah, it's not fair. It's
no, no.
yeah, you have to make sure you go to the bathroom before the sun goes down. Make sure you do whatever you got to do, and then make sure the curtains are shut close, shut tight.
That's terrifying for a child, like, especially. It's like, I mean, did you grow up hearing about this in your oral history or your folklore, um, for for your people as far as, I mean, we all grow up hearing stories. I come from a family of very heightened intuitives who've had crazy experiences. And I'm at 4 years old hearing this going,
Mm,
that's great,
mm,
because it doesn't leave you. So
yeah.
when you were having this sighting, for example, the experience you just mentioned about having something on the roof or on the windows, did you pretty much know what that was at that age? Or have you in hearing stories?
Growing up, it was just normal. I thought everyone was seeing something outside, hearing things trying to get in, and I thought
Mhm.
it was everybody. But going to school,
Yeah,
I realized that some kids were actually normal. Some kids actually had a normal childhood. You know,
right.
growing up on the reservation, we didn't have electricity or
Yeah,
running water,
yeah,
and our livestock was our way of life. And then until they all start going missing, and there's not much you can really do.
yeah.
And then you start hearing all the elders, around the old kerosene lamp
Mhm,
talking about old scary stories about skinwalkers, about Bigfoot, about lights in the sky, about
mhm,
little people, and as a Navajo kid,
mhm.
trying to stay up late, like you got that guy at 2 a.m. I was like that, but 3 years old, 4 years old, trying to stay awake and watching the old people just going left and right stories and drinking that strong hot black coffee, they're
Yeah,
wide awake, and I'm right there trying to like, oh, I need to hear this. I need to hear this. This is important information.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you know. So
I
it's
would have been the same. Yeah,
yeah, and this is
yeah.
all in Navajo too. This is no one spoke English back then. I was born and raised in an old world, and I really do miss that. And
Mhm.
it's sad that we'll never get that again. Hear
I
them voices.
I agree with you, and I'm
Mhm.
envious. I'm envious
Oh,
of that. I mean, I grew up in a valley along the lake. It's not like I was in the city or anything like that. But you're right. There was something very special about that time that will never come back around. I think
hmm,
at least in my lifetime, because you're younger than I am considerably. But when
yeah.
when you were hearing all of this stuff, the experience you just mentioned, did your parents say to you, "Oh no, this is what it is," or did they just try to, you know, out of sight, out of mind, don't talk about it, not to frighten you, that kind of thing?
Yeah, mainly the my traditional side of the family. Half my family was traditional.
Yeah,
Like like the Navajo traditional side is very sacred.
yeah,
Like I can't even share with the outside world, but
of
that's
course.
half my family. You know,
Mhm.
they would say, no, 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 no. Then the Christian side would be like, this is what happened. They'd be like, your great grandmother and your great grandfather was,
Mhm.
medicine men and women by
Mhm.
day, and by night they were skinwalkers. And then in between there, they were alcoholics.
Mhm.
Just like the yin yang, has the light and dark side.
Mhm.
Yin will die in battle if yin is not there. Yin needs yang. So, that goes through the whole teachings of you have to have that balance. So that's what they were doing.
Mhm.
And they changed their ways. They met this one white dude out in area called Keyenta, Arizona, speaking perfect Navajo. And they're like, well, I can restart my life, and they
Yeah.
did, and they forsake their ways. And then, like, I guess the price of, turning your back on, the 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 traditional ways, because our family emblem was a lightning, the lightning strike.
Mhm.
And if you do the research, that's one of the highest powers in this world. Then,
Mhm.
like, the Navajo tradition is, the swastika. It
Yes.
was actually like the symbol of power, for
Yes.
a lot of Navajos, and they do practice that still. They do all those signs and symbols.
Mhm.
You
Well,
know,
I think
and
the signs and symbols, that one specifically actually had more sacred meaning before it got bastardized
yeah,
in World War II. We'll leave that right there. But
yeah,
it's not at all what the world has been taught. And I think you have more and more researchers who are coming forward with the proper meanings of the proper symbols. And this is just one example. So,
yeah,
thank you for mentioning that. um,
yeah.
so you
And
had that was your first experience then.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I was going back the history leading up
Please.
to.
No, 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 let's
Yeah,
let's cover that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my great grandparents, they became pastors out in this church. They built one of the first ones in the area.
Wow.
So they were getting they had probably like 14 kids, and they lost more than half. Only 7
Mhm,
survived. They were all dying left and right because they turned their ways from the skinwalkers, like a demonic cult. You know,
mhm.
they can access portals and make a portal anywhere, anytime, any place.
Wow.
And so they were getting picked on a lot and harassed. And my great grandfather had his horse tied up right outside the front door, and my great grandmother was cooking, and she seen something fly by the window, and she told him, "Hey, it's outside, it's here again." And he already had his rifle by the front door, so he ran to the front door, opened the door, and boom, he shot it. And he saddled up his horse, and it's bleeding, so he's tracking the blood. And so he rode like 4 or 5 miles into this wash where these huge bushes are. So he's weaving through the washes like this with his horse. And then there's one great bush his horse did not want to go get past. It was fighting him. And he's
Mm,
like, "Oh, this thing is right behind here." So he tied up his horse, and he tracked it. He went around this bush, and he said that there's this Navajo lady. She was topless, or she was naked. She
yeah.
was kneeling down, and she had long black hair that was covering her breast and her private area.
Mhm,
She had long black hair going all the way around her, and then on
mhm,
her hands she had bracelets all going all the way across, and she had
mhm,
rings and necklace, all these sterling silver, turquoise, because they get those from grave robbing.
mhm,
They rob the dead, and they actually eat the dead too, and they use the fingernails, toenails, different parts of your bones to grind them up. So even different parts of animals they use them for different whatever they
mhm,
want to do. So they have tools there.
mhm,
So he went around, and she was telling him in Navajo, like don't tell me, my son, Here, she
mhm,
took off some necklaces and some bracelets. She had her head down the whole time, so her hair is covering. She's like,
mhm,
here, take this, go somewhere else. Don't tell anybody, don't tell anyone. And with the end of his rifle, the tip of his barrel, he reached over and he moved her hair. And I guess it was his wife's aunt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was our own family members were killing us because how you get into that secret society is You have to
Yeah.
sacrifice your loved one, the ones that you love the most. It's the only way you get that power. So that's
Wow.
the form of initiation to get in. So it was blood in, blood out. And if you want out, your whole family, your whole line, everyone that descends from you can't make footprints on Mother Earth again.
Mm-hmm.
So they do the whole thing. So our side of the reservation, my family,
Mm-hmm.
half of them they actually were never captured during the genocide because all these tribes and everyone turned on us, and then we started to play hide and go seek down in the Grand Canyon,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why like my family say we're second place hide and seek championship.
Right.
Bigfoot's first, Bigfoot's first place.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, like I had my hair cut too. Like when I was a kid, my middle right at my top of my head was cut, and
Mm-hmm.
my mother, she was crying, she was panicking, and she was praying for me, and they got a lot of people at the house to pray for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really sure what was going on, and I was looking at my mom, and I can tell her look on her face. She was scared, and I was like, oh man, something's gonna happen. And sure
Mm-hmm.
enough, when I went to sleep, I started having this bad dream where my hair was. I don't know how to describe it to you. So wherever my hair was, I can see through my hair. And I
Mm-hmm.
was in a cave that was, had a fireplace in a pit. It was in a cave. And this one old lady, she had pepper hair, white and black.
Mm-hmm.
And she was cursing me, singing all these chants in Navajo, and she was spinning me in circle and circle and circle. And I was
Wow.
getting dizzy, and I would wake up and I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat, I couldn't talk. I was spinning on
Mm-hmm.
the bed, and everyone was trying to, come towards me, pray for me, and tell me it's okay. But the more closer they got to me, the more dizzy I was getting,
Mm-hmm.
and this went on for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't eat anything. No one couldn't even be near me when someone started praying for me. I started to get dizzy, even in the next room. It was crazy. I couldn't, and until I managed to fall asleep one night, and my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother, she placed me in another room, and she laid down on that bed, and she said she was about to doze off, and she felt someone touch her hair because she always curled her hair. She had really curly hair, so she felt someone touching her hair. She flew to her where she turned on the light. She turned on the light and she turned around, and up in the corner of the roof was a medicine man's son. He
Mm-hmm.
was up on the corner like Spider-Man in his regular clothes. She
Mm-hmm.
grabbed the broom and she started smacking him, chasing him out, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, my grandmother and that guy both died 3 days later because she found out who his identity, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people say that she took my place.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness. I'm so
all black.
sorry. I am so
Yeah,
sorry. That's I can't even imagine you
yeah,
having to go through something like that, or your family going through something like that, especially at the hands of family.
yeah. And we found out that it wasn't our own family this time. It was a well-known medicine man from the area.
Oh, that's even worse because
Yeah,
he's supposed to be a healer.
yeah. But he was more than a healer. He was doing extra things, that can't
Right.
be can't be said on here.
Right.
Really
Right.
horrible things, actually.
Yes,
Um,
of course.
I bumped into him one time at a grocery store, and I was small, right? Of course, I was small. And, I bumped into him by accident. I was getting a drink from the cooler, and I looked up, and he was looking down. He turned around. He had his hat on. He had his big coat on. He had the old Navajo hat on. And if you can imagine Jeepers Creepers standing there at night with the white hair. So he was looking down at me, and I seen his old eyes go black. And he had a long smile went across. And my grandpa picked him up and slammed him against the freezer. So everyone knew that guy was doing things, and a lot of his family, his descendants, were dying mysteriously. And ever since he died, his whole family's increasing like no other. But
Wow.
everyone knows why. Like,
Yeah. Oh, oh my
yeah,
gosh.
Some
That's insane. I
my
know Kitty.
uncle shot his wife one time. Well, they were in Skinwalker form actually,
Mhm,
because like my family were always targets all the time. You know, whether it be Skinwalkers or ET or Sasquatch. You know, we're like a magnet.
mhm,
And this one time they were hearing someone chanting outside. It's a death chant outside the front door. And my uncle, he
mhm,
snuck all the way to the front of the trailer. He kicked open the trailer door, and he said right in front of him was a skinwalker. And then he said onto his left was another skinwalker. But when they were chanting, he knew that skinwalker was that medicine man by his voice. And then the other one that's chanting in front of him was his wife. He knew them by their voices, and
mhm.
he unloaded right into her.
Right.
He said that he was standing on his left, and he said it sounded like a lightning strike. He was
Mm.
gone, like a thunderclap. He was gone. It's how fast these things can fly, and
Wow.
yeah, it's supernatural. It's not right.
So can they indeed be killed, with a firearm, like with a gun?
They can be hurt. Yeah, they can be hurt.
Mhm,
Like what most people would do is would burn cedar wood and
mhm.
then
Yeah,
have the bullet.
cedar.
Yeah, rub
Yes.
the bullet around the cedar ash. You
Mhm,
know, and other than that, you would let everyone know who their identity is,
mhm.
and that
Well,
would kill them 3 days later.
wow. So that's the key.
Hmm.
Mark is asking, he goes, "Do you think that skinwalkers are portrayed correctly on TV, or are they different in reality?"
Yeah,
Much different in reality.
yeah,
Yeah.
they are
Like
the
everything else, right?
yeah, they're like the black ops of the unseen realm. These guys are the top dogs. They have targets.
Mhm,
They have reasons why they have targets, and they get paid to take care of some things.
mhm,
If you're not on their agenda, then they'll go around you, but you'll see them.
mhm. Right.
Yeah.
But at least you're not being targeted. It sounds a lot like Wendigo. Wendigo history, in the North, it's Wendigos up in Canada or even parts of the Northern United States, which sounds to me a lot like the Skinwalkers. They're very,
Mm.
very, they
The,
do just that. They target people and they go after them.
yeah, one of the stories of the oral history on the skinwalkers that come from us is so there's multiple stories, but this one's the main one that I'll share with you.
Yes, please.
So I guess we went back at this one point in time in history. I can't remember how many years ago, but this was before colonization. This is before everybody, you know.
Mhm,
So this one plague came about on the Southwest, and a lot of people were dying. A lot of Navajo people were dying,
mhm,
and then all these medicine men were trying to get to places to save their life. They couldn't get to a lot of them on times, but they're trying. And said that Thunder God, he's watching what they're doing. He came down and he told him that I'm gonna teach you this trick, this magic. I'm gonna give you this gift. You use it to save life. You get to where you need to be quick. This
mhm,
is power. So he taught them all that, and they were able to go crisscross north, east, west, south, fast, just
mhm,
to bring their people back to life. Because at that point, our people almost passed away.
mhm,
They nursed them all back to life, and then I guess over years later, the dark one came, and he perverted that gift.
mhm,
And just like that George Lucas, the light side, the dark side, he actually took that from the Mayans
mm.
belief. Same thing with the skinwalkers, the light and dark side.
Yes.
That's the same thing with the medicine man. If you were to look at him, he's actually kind of like a Jedi.
Yeah.
Some of them want to do more dark, some of them
Yes.
want to do more evil, some of them want to do more good, but
Mhm,
they're all at a price, like always a huge price to pay. So,
mm,
and then like into the wars, they were used as the messengers. So if you ever look up a book called the Book of the Navajo, Actually, they're in there as messengers because the Navajo warriors were able to assemble 1,000 warriors in a half a day, and it took the United States cavalry 2 weeks to a month to assemble 1,000 cavalrymen. They
Wow.
were quick with the information.
Impressive.
Yeah, yeah. This is actually, you can all look it up. It's on the Book of the Navajo, and I did a lot of deep history dive on the journals, from the Spanish journals. A lot of good entries,
Yes.
interesting stuff. But
Mhm.
so that's the origin of it, and for the Skinwalkers, and I think possibly every other tribe has their own deal, most
Mhm.
likely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Dolly saying that the Cherokee called them the Skina or the Asgina, if I'm even saying that correctly.
mm,
So,
yeah. The
um,
the Skinwalker is a man that knows black magic, and he roams with the demonic being that gives him the power and the fuel.
mhm,
But the other beings and other cryptids were brought through from the lot of rituals that the Anasazi used to do back in the past. And a lot of them actually came out of the portals and consumed them. They had the pale bodies. They were
mm,
told maybe that could be the rake,
mm,
maybe the Wendigo. Every time that when they opened the portal, something came through, and
mm,
they didn't close it. And then, like, even up to right now, medicine men and women, they can open a portal on the ground.
mhm. Wow.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
and they can have a rock crystal. If you have a big rock crystal, they
Mhm,
know a magic. They start chanting to it, and they can make a projection of you where you lost your keys, or what your boyfriend's doing, or who your boyfriend cheated on with, or who stole your car and where your car's at. It'll show everything right there.
mhm.
Yeah, it's not natural. They can
No.
rewind, they can pause, they can zoom in. They're called the crystal gazers. And then the skinwalkers, they do the same thing. Like right now, they can be watching this broadcast on their crystal rocks right now in a cave,
Mhm,
because this
mm.
information is getting out there, and they don't want the information. They want this information, like how everyone thinks that they're this and they're that, and they
They
like that.
want it buried. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
I've heard, that being mentioned before. It's just like there's a fear of talking about them because of that fear of retaliation.
yeah.
It's one of those things that are not meant to be put out there. But in the same respect, if you don't put it out there, it's almost like you're empowering them as well.
Yeah, then
Right?
it goes back to like you get witched, then you go to a medicine man or a
Mhm.
crystal gazer, you ask him who did this to
Mhm.
me, who's giving me this hardship, and
Yeah.
they won't tell you who it is. They won't give you the name. They'll know who it is, but they won't give you the name. And the
Mhm.
crystal gazer won't tell you the name too, but they'll make that thing appear a silhouette of somebody, of that person.
Mhm.
Only thing, they won't say their name. Or if they're cool, they'll show you who really is giving you the hardship, but they won't say their name. They'll
Mhm.
say shh. They just, because they don't know if they're listening, because at night they're shifting in a different form, running around, and at
Mhm.
daytime they're astral projecting everywhere, anywhere, gathering information, intel, while
Mhm.
their wife is at home protecting their body so they don't
See,
sleep.
that is really amazing when you think about like the thought behind it, watching the body while they're so they work in pairs essentially.
Yeah, they're never alone too. They're never
Yes.
alone when they're around. Yeah, they're
Yes.
either with their spouse or their son or their nephew, or it's an uncle and a nephew. Because I have a survivor that actually has stories like that in a cave, where a huge rock, where you would believe and you would walk through that rock into another dimension, where it'd be
Mhm.
another dude with their nephew around a fire, multiple people.
Mhm.
So
It's
go ahead.
fascinating, like as to physical transformations, because there's many beings out there who can give you the illusion, make you believe that this is what they look like. So it's really interesting to hear that these are actual physical transformations.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's frightening, really.
Yeah, like a lot of them, if you were to catch one of them right on time, you go into a hospital, on their deathbed, they're shifting to the dog and they're howling, and their hands turn to paws and their nose turn to the snout, and they're howling on their deathbed. Every one of them that happens to them, their last days, they can't stop the shifting.
They can't stop. Wow. So, are these similar to what would a dog man would be, or are they just they're not as full? They're kind of thin and lanky and like longer limbs and decrepited, kind of, right? Like, I think we have them up here. They look.
No,
I mean, we
um,
you mentioned the snout and
yeah, a werewolf. They
well,
can
yeah,
look
dog
just
man,
like a
werewolf.
werewolf. Yeah, but
Up
the
here we
thing
call wolves that walk upright.
Yeah, they can look just like that, but the things that will set them apart, make you a Navajo Skinwalker is painted symbols across their body, and they would
Oh.
have a little bag, like a little satchel for their
Mhm,
tools, and then they would have a kilt and that old Navajo kilt on, and
mhm,
sometimes they would have a moccasin or just their dog paws.
mhm,
They would speak Navajo because they
mm,
would only go to certain places to certain people for a certain mission.
mhm,
Yeah, they don't run around just for people to see.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yes. So,
and they go ahead.
are you still plagued by
Oh,
skinwalkers even
no,
now? No?
no.
Good? Oh, good. That's good news. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When he passed away back in 2013, 15,
Mhm,
everyone on my side of the Navajo Nation are were able to breathe a sigh of breath, but lately things has been getting active again.
oh, wow.
Skinwalker wise. Yeah, they're coming back in, and they meet in certain
Mhm,
caves across the Navajo Nation. They all have meetings. The men and women
mhm,
go in there with masks, and the females will be topless.
mhm,
They have ceremonial masks.
mhm,
Then they have dead bodies. They cook up like stew, and they
mhm,
eat them. They have to do consume human bodies as a
mm,
ritual.
mhm.
You have to do some things like that just to prove that your allegiance, to who, the big giant head. It's like a huge head. He looks like I don't know. That's all I can say. It's a big head.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yes, yes. Well, I don't want you to go too deep where you also are not supposed to. I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna come back here. Uh, Kitty says, she goes, "I was told by a Dene elder." I know I'm not pronouncing it right.
Oh yeah,
You can
Dene
see it.
Elder
Yeah,
and Anasazi Giants. Yeah, that's where a lot of the rakes and the Wendigo probably came from, was the Anasazis, because up in their kivas, they're kidnapping a lot of Navajo kids, a
mhm,
lot of the young ones in there, because when they would slit the throat, they would put them like towards the wall or put something in front of them, and while the
mhm,
blood splats, the pattern they would read like what's going to happen this year or this coming the
mm,
crop season, if it's going to be good crops or bad crops, or
mhm.
that's they would call that entrails, like the druids did that in Europe, the
Yes,
blood trails, so it's the same thing like the masonry, but
yes,
we have Native American Freemasonry. So this is
yes.
the same similar things where they do human sacrifice.
Mhm,
That's where opened up, and then the giants. I guess one point in time, the all the females and all the males, they got in disagreement. Whether it be over a ceremony or something. So they all went on one side of the river, San Juan River, and the
mhm,
females were on the other side. And I guess all the holy people, the ETs, those UFOs were observing everything. They came down. Half of them went to the male side, half of them went to the female side. They started procreating giants, and
mhm,
these giants were evil, and they started causing chaos on the whole world, the destruction. And
mhm,
then the creator had to come down and destroy the world. The
mhm.
other the worlds, multiple worlds were destroyed. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one of the rules, that men can't be with men, women can't be with women, because it'll result in a giant. And then over times, giants did intermarry within our tribe. We have the Yei'iitsoh clan, so that's the
Mm-hmm.
giant clan. Then so like the Bigfoot, you would say Yei'iitsoh, so he's
Yes.
a big giant. Then like you would say a giant, the 6 toe, six
Yes.
digit, that's Yei. And then
Yes.
the ETs, like all those guys flying around there, that's Yei'iitsoh. So that's the giant's grandpa. That's
Right.
how you would say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very fascinating. Just before we get too far ahead, Alan just wants you to reiterate. So they sacrifice children through blood on the walls for divination, I guess is what he's wondering, for divination.
Yeah, and so much more.
Yes. Okay. There you go, Alan. So, Kazan, hello. So, I guess we're going to Skinwalker Ranch, I'm assuming. Could the big wolf encounter with the Sherman family out there have been a Skinwalker?
Where was the Sherman family at again?
I think they were the ones that owned Skinwalker Ranch, or they lived there for quite some time before they purchased
okay.
it. Yeah.
I just got done with my other podcast earlier, and I just got done telling the story.
Oh, good.
So,
Synchronicity. Excellent.
okay. So, a long time ago, when Mexico still, claimed all his areas, and the Mormon were here, the Navajos, the Mormons, the Utes, the Goshoots, and the Paiutes. So us five, the five bands here in Utah, we were all at war with the Mormons. And Mexico sold this whole area off to America. Then when America came, Mexicans told the Americans that if you want to take care of this whole area, you need to get rid of the Navajos and the Apaches, because they're natural people. They want natural things, and we can't progress forward. These people are not going to, help us make a country here. So we need to kill all of them. That's who you want to wipe out first, is the Navajo and the Apache. And then if you want to settle this place, the first one you want on your side is the Utes. The Utes know the whole area. They're traders. They're good people, and they like material things. They like silver. They like guns. They like fine handmade things. And sure enough, the Utes, they said okay. They took all the rifles, everything they wanted. They got it, and they started raiding our settlements here in Monument Valley, Navajo Mountain. They started blitzing us all around. And while they were doing that, they were taking a lot of young females as slaves with them. And then the ones they couldn't take, they raped them. And so, all that, we got attacked that way. And so all the Navajo people gathered their medicine men. They went up on top of this mesa called Black Mesa, where they can see Ute land from there. And they all got together. They said that the circle's been broken. So that's one of our signs, is if a circle's broken, then we're going to unleash hell, whether it be in the physical and the spirit realm at the same time. We're coming at you. So that's what they declared. The circle's broken. So they all got together, and they looked toward Ute land, which is to the northeast. And they cursed. They opened up a portal, which is called Skinwalker Ranch, that can never, ever be closed.
That's interesting.
Because they betrayed us. Because at one time, the Navajo Hogan and the teepee were next door to each other. Yeah, and then ever since then, they never said sorry. So
yes,
the whole thing's still going on their reservation.
Oh yes, and we know that things are still happening at Skinwalker Ranch. That it's mystifying. And I love how you put it together with the traditions and so on. It gives a much better understanding, because they don't really talk about that per se. It's very scientific. Yeah, and scientific. They're trying to find science-based reasons for it, but it's just I think so much more than that. So very interesting. Another question, because we were talking about Yeti and Sasquatch. Mark says some people do believe they are extraterrestrial. What is your opinion? And are they connected to Skinwalkers? So two-part question.
Well, the extraterrestrial part, possibly.
Mm.
Strong possibility.
Mhm.
But no really not much really links to them. But I've
Yeah.
experienced all three different times. So they were never were hanging out together.
Yes. Yes.
um,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
um,
So they're not connected. I have heard people say that they have seen Sasquatch type beings, Bigfoot, in underground bases, but that's somebody's perception, that's somebody else's experience, or who knows? I've not heard that often. But with the theory that they use portals to disappear, or that they can slip in and out pretty quick, is also interesting. I'm curious as to your thoughts on that because there are reports where people they get on the heels of a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch and they're like, okay, I see this thing. They
yeah,
get there, footprints stop. They're looking around. It's like
I think
nothing, not in a tree. Like they check the perimeter. They can't see anything.
I think
So
they're
are they
lazy.
interdimensional?
I think they're lazy. I think they're lazy because I didn't take that for an answer for my tracking. When I
Yeah,
was on one, I was
yeah.
like, I looked up, looked around, saw no one didn't pick you up. You did not jump in the portal. I'm gonna find you because I was on a tail of a 23-inch track.
Wow.
So this guy
That's a
was
big
over
guy.
12 feet tall, 12 and a half feet tall, black.
Wow.
So I was on his trail and I lost him because where he was sitting, his first step was 6 foot. And he started moving from 6 foot to 9 foot each stride. So he's walking in a straight line like a
Hmm.
runway model, So he's like this. So it started from 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 15 feet, 15 feet to 18 feet. It just went up by 3 increments every time. And I lost him. I was like, where did you go? Where did you go? And I started going in a spiral, a tight spiral. And
Mm.
when I got to over 30 feet, and I found where he landed, he jumped. He jumped. Not only that, he jumped and he met his baby and his love because the other sets that he met was a size 17 and
Yeah.
then the little one was a size 11, size 12.
Wow.
Yeah, and they went straight up the
The
mountain.
baby's a size 12. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, the mom and the baby were taking a
Wow.
shower underneath the waterfall.
Oh, it's beautiful though.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
So,
I love that. I love that. I think it's wonderful. So you don't think that they're interdimensional. You
no,
think that
because
they're
I found nests. We found nests that we made. We did a documentary with William Jevning.
yes.
It's going to be on Tubi this coming year, pretty soon actually.
Yes.
And we did tie eyewitness story with the nest. And we found the scat near the nest.
Mm-hmm.
And we found another nest up on a mountain pass. We
Mm-hmm.
found a lot of signs. We found kill pile,
Mm-hmm.
and we're being watched. And we got howls. So
Mm.
I don't think he would make foot tracks. He would make
Yes.
a nest for
Yes.
him and its baby. You got the
Yes.
nest for it makes for itself. It's so huge where you can fit a horse and two people diagonal. It's like a diamond nest they make.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. So
it's
what is
beautiful.
your actual opinion as to what are they? Are they a primate of sort or just a long lost giants? Are they a long lost um, race of beings? What does the Navajo people say about them?
That's what I was just gonna say.
Thank you.
Well, everyone has a lot of opinions, which is cool. I have my own opinions, but I'm gonna lean back to my people, what they
Yeah.
said. So, one of the elders told a story that a long time ago, the creator he created humans and Bigfoot at the same time.
Mm.
So Bigfoot is not only one species; there's many species of Bigfoots.
Hmm.
So Dogman could be a relative. They're all cousins,
Hmm.
and so over time past, they started to eat all of us humans all around the world. They started consuming all of us.
Wow.
Yeah. And then these two warriors started to go on the offensive. So they asked their mother, who's our father? Where can we find him? We need help. So
Hmm.
she said, you see that sun right there? She's like, yeah, it's the guy that can control that sun. So like, how are we gonna do that? So
Yeah.
his name was Jonah, eh? So that's the Navajo god, sacred name.
Yes.
So they actually managed to go find him. And he a lot of series of tests, that actually he is the baby daddy. So
Yes.
then he asked them like, what do you guys need? What do you guys want? And they looked over his doorway. They seen a bow and arrow with like a rainbow bow and the lightning crisscrossing it. And they're
Mhm.
looking at that, and he's seeing his, oh, you guys are looking at that. And then when he was looking at his boys, he already knew what they were gonna do, and he's like realizing what's going down on Earth, and he's like,
Mhm.
I have to give you this weapon. There's a lot
Mhm.
of chaos going on down there. My children's eating the other children. This is not right. So he gave him a weapon. He said, "Go ahead, go do what you got to do." And they came back down to Earth, and they started killing all those Bigfoots and the giants. And so they started killing all these monsters from all over the world, and
Mhm.
they started chasing them all the way down here in the Grand Canyon, because the Grand Canyon goes really, really, really deep. No one really knows how deep it is, but during the flood, we survived in those caves down there. And when the water receded, we left, because in our name, Navajo, Dene, actually means crawling up, because when the flood came, we submerged into the world, and when the
Mhm.
water went back down, we had to crawl to the surface like this. So that's what our name means, Dene. That means we're crawling up and out.
Mhm.
So that's so they chased them all the way down in there, and they had pity on them. They let them live, because not only Bigfoot was down there, they said poverty, hunger. There's a lot of things that are plaguing this world. They were
Mhm.
all there, and they had a chance to get rid of it, but they had pity on, Bigfoot. They had pity on all those beasts down there, and they
Mhm.
let them live. And they made a deal with Bigfoot and all his kind, saying that the night's for you, the daytime's for us. You're children of the night, we're children of the day. You respect us, we'll respect you. You stay out of our way, we'll stay out of your way.
Mhm.
And then I guess over time, the agreements are forgotten up until this day.
Wow, that's impressive. Um, it goes to show you, though, that it could work together. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of stories out there where people have, these beings on their properties and they leave food out for them. And I've read accounts where, there'll be like a family, let's say, of Sasquatch or Bigfoot. They'll come and the families will leave apples or just different fresh vegetables or fruit for them. And in one account, they actually became protective of the humans' property. They would always circle around. They were never intrusive. They knew when they could come and get the food,
Mhm,
and they became protective of the property. So bears wouldn't be coming around, or even intruders.
mhm.
Which I thought, God, that's just interesting that you can form this kind of a relationship.
Yeah. We I have a family that I keep in contact regularly, that
Mhm.
are the same shoe like that,
Yeah.
respective boundary. And it's very fragile.
Hmm.
It's so fragile that I think that if we make the right steps, that we can make history, learn from this creature. And
Yes.
if we do, show that they can trust us, maybe we can make contact,
It's
because we've
believed
done it
that they are
before.
telepathic, though. That, like from a quantum research, that people have some research have stepped into that boundary, trying to see if there is a telepathic link, communication link, because there is a belief that they can actually kind of mess with your thoughts a little bit as well. You want guests for your show, for your podcast, I have a perfect person for you, and I can talk to you about that, who totally it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing, the research. But you know, I believe, you know, I believe that they're much more clever and advanced than we give them credit for. If they can do that, I think if you can speak telepathically, I think if they can indeed pick up on your thoughts telepathically, then you would be able, I think, to make peace and so on. I think there'd be a mutual understanding, even if it's just a vibration. They work with frequencies, things like that, as to their tones.
Mm.
You know, maybe
Yeah.
not as primitive as many people think. A little bit more
Yeah.
advanced.
Yeah. I'm not really sure about the mind speak and all that, you know, from my experiences.
Yeah.
Is from seeing this thing and hearing this thing. This thing's
Mhm.
wild. This
Well, it
thing's
could
very
be a fight or
wild.
flight thing too, though.
Yeah, yeah. And then like the eye to eye, you
Yeah.
know, um
They're chasing it.
what happened with me was deep inside it just sparked the old ancient struggle, you know, with these things because I thought it was a skinwalker. I can lead you into my encounter story if you don't mind.
Yes. Please. No, no,
Um,
no. The stage is yours. Go crazy. Yeah.
well, I'll go back a little bit further. So, you know, the Navajos, we 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 rather call them Sasquatch encounters,
Yes.
Skinwalker encounters, just to make us feel better. You know,
Yes, of
that's
course. Well,
how.
it's traditional. No, no,
Yeah,
absolutely. In Canada, we
yeah,
call them Sasquatch up here as
yeah.
well.
Because this could be a Skinwalker or a Dogman looking Bigfoot because the trailer was pretty high one time. This is my great grandma's trailer, and it was probably like 12 o'clock, and I heard my little brother at the time. He was 3. He's like calling my aunt's name,
Mhm.
and then it was a full moon. Moon's coming up, and you know it's a pretty big window, and the trailer was high up, like I was saying, and you know he's like, look, puppy. And I was like, oh no, there's no dog can be reaching up that high. There's nothing, you know, we're high up. Not, I turned and looked, and then I seen this huge old wolf head peeking
Mm.
in through the window. And you know, my aunt, she had a lot of composure. She got up, grabbed him. She's like, "Come on, let's go back to sleep. It's okay." And I was
Sure.
like,
Let's
"Yes,
just do
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah." And
No.
she didn't. She couldn't. She said she couldn't close the window. She didn't close the window, and this thing was staring at us for I don't know how long until I fell asleep. And
Wow.
yeah, and then another night, this thing was jiggling the doorknob, and it was rolling off our water barrels that we had stacked up by the rampway by the door.
Mhm.
Same thing, you know, your routine running on the roof, crawling underneath the trailer, trying to come up into the trailer from the bottom because this is after all the dogs are gone, all the animals are gone, all the chickens are gone, and we're only
Yeah.
what's left on the menu because you know we just turned out that to be a grocery store for these guys,
Yes.
and you know, and then like coming up to 18 years old, around my areas, I was times where I couldn't sleep at night. I'd be running on the road. You know, I know every back road like the back of my hand, and I wasn't scared of anything because at 13 I see my first skinwalker, and you know I ran over a saber-toothed tiger. I seen ghosts. So I was 18. You know, I seen a lot. You know, at 13 years old, fighting against 30-year-old men. So a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
things happened to me growing up on the Navajo Nation. I started driving when I was 5 years old because my grandpa was too drunk. My grandma was too drunk to drive, so I'm brother looking over the stick shift driving. So my cousins came through from out of state. They were Navajo, raised off the Navajo Nation, and they came in.
Mhm.
They're like, "Hey, let's go for a hike. Let's go for a walk. I want to see something. I want to see a skinwalker." Da, da, da. And I was like, "Are you sure? You're gonna regret that, but let's go then. Let's go. Let's get ready." And so it was two of my aunts, um, three of my uncles. You know, so there's a grip load of us. We just left the house in that community called Helchita on the Navajo Nation outside of Mexican Hat, Utah, off the San Juan River because Bigfoot likes to take the San Juan. This is a
Mhm.
little freeway,
Yeah.
and so we're making our way to the river in these washes. And within 30 minutes of our hike, we were hearing these screams, these
Mhm.
vocalizations that we never heard. Like, is there someone drunk out here? Did someone get lost from a party?
Mhm.
You're just hearing "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ah," all kinds of weird things. I cannot,
Yeah.
imitate. It was catching our attention, and my uncle had the only flashlight. He was shining his light over there, and I thought it was on the hill over yonder, like an eye was reflecting. I was like, "Oh, it's probably a cougar," because it was facing to front. And I was like, "It's probably a cougar." And then this thing was getting louder, and it was screaming long, like 20 seconds. And then like the lungs on this thing, I was like, "This is not a cougar. This is not a bobcat." And I was looking at my family, and everyone's quiet and they're staring at this thing. I was like, "Well, okay, I guess I'll go check. It's probably an old man or old lady, skinwalker." So let's go check it out. So I was only walking, 20 yards, 40 yards, 80 yards. The whole time I had my eye on this thing. And I
Mhm.
got to 100 yards, and I was getting 60 yards within this thing with his eyes glowing, and I realized that the size, proportion, and the distance where I was, I misjudged it, and I realized how close I am, how far it is still, and how huge those amber eyes were reflecting from the
Mhm.
flashlight. And I'm telling you, these eyes were like as big as my palm. These eyes were like
Mm.
far set, and I seen that the soil in the area is red, and I seen what looked like a plywood with glowing eyes, and I seen red hair. This thing had no neck. And it
Mm.
started. If you ever looked up Sierra Sounds with Ron Moorhead,
I know Ron Moorhead has been on the show 2 or 3
oh
times. I highly recommend it. I can connect you if you like.
yeah, but the vocalization
Yes.
that when it did that, and it started going. Oh,
Yes.
it started going like
Yeah.
this, and it was
Yes.
going, "Ah," and I stopped right there. This thing was going too quick, and
Yes.
whoo, yeah, it made the hair stand up on my, everywhere.
Yeah, oh,
And
yeah, I
this
bet.
thing, yeah, I was just
Yeah.
standing there. It was just right on the other side of the heel. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this thing is right there," and it started to step backwards, and the light was going like this, and it was staring at me with his eyes, and then
Yes.
went behind the heel. And
Yes.
I was making my way back to my family, and it was the longest trip back because I had my head down, and I was trying to figure out what am I going to say. My
Mhm.
family's not going to believe me that I seen something giant, red hair, yeah, eyes huge, reflecting amber,
Yeah.
and I got up to him. I was like, "It's a bobcat. Let's keep going." So we started walking in the wash some more, and we were getting stopped left and right. This guy was up on the hill. I didn't tell any of my family member at all. This was
Mhm.
all inside of me. I was like letting everyone get ahead. I was the last one. Like, if this monster's gonna get me, I didn't even think it was Bigfoot at all.
Mhm.
And it turned to 3 in the morning, and we let the youngest family member. He was like
Mhm.
14. He got like about 60, probably 70 yards ahead of us, and he went around this bend.
Mhm.
We got back to the dirt road, so I think he got comfortable. He
Mhm.
went around this bend. I was the first one, and I looked down, to check my footing, and I looked up. I look up, and he's flying towards me. His eyes is wide open. He's not running like this. No, he's running like this, and his leg.
That's to get the
Yeah,
hell out of the way.
yeah, he's like this,
Oh,
and
boy.
then his leg like this too. So he's
Wow.
flying towards me, and he tackled me. I told him, like, "What did you see? What did you see? What's up? What did you see?" And he was screaming. He was hysterical. And he was squeezing me too. And I was like, "What did you see? Tell me. I need to know. What did you see?" And he's like, "Yeah, Atloshi, yeah, Atloshi." That means Skinwalker now.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Bro, what did you see? Tell me. I need to know what you see. What did you see?" And he said that it's a big red orangutan was running towards him on all four, and he
Right.
had his hands out, and I was going to grab him. So this hand was huge. He said he turned around, he ran back towards us. As soon as he said that, I took him off, and I started running down that road where he came from. And a
Mhm.
cousin that was a year younger than me, he joined me, and we got around that corner. We're, uh, we were hauling butt, and we just ran into a wall of stink. It made
Yeah.
us stop. We're gagging,
Very
and this the
pungent.
hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This hill is very steep. It's very important for a man to go up. very
Mhm.
steep. This thing was up on top already, and some rocks were falling down. Little pebbles were coming down. He was up on top. He went over the hill.
Mhm.
So that was the
That
first encounter, and I didn't even realize that it was Sasquatch until 2017.
so so tell me, why do you feel that, the Navajo Nation, the area that you call home, is so ripe for all of this and more? And we'll get into the more as well, but why do you think it's so ripe for all this? Why it's almost like a perfect storm of activity.
Mm. I have this friend. His NDA is gonna end soon with the government.
Mhm.
He and I chat a lot, and he said that Navajo Nation is on a grid line. Where all these
Those ley
supernatural.
lines sort of
Yeah,
thing. Mm,
yeah.
that
So
could do it.
we're right on the money with that.
Mhm.
And the things that we see is is out of this world. It's
Yes.
amazing though.
It
Yeah.
do you think there are, I mean, aside we know, like, there's this portal at Skinwalker Ranch, but do you think you have any, portals, or some people will call them stargates, that like natural vortexes that are in place on the property? Because the Navajo, your ancestors would have probably protected these areas, and marked them in spots in
Yep.
old, like, petroglyphs and things like that.
Yeah. We got one famous one called Rainbow Bridge. There's
Oh,
one that opens up. Yep. And another one where the net. Yeah. We have multiple spots on the Navajo Nation where it's stational stargates or portals where these creatures come out of.
makes complete sense.
Yeah. And in another portal where little people guard. And in Navajo language, we would call the portal a rainbow bridge because some of our clan were brought here from the last destruction of the world through a portal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Things just being able to, pop back and
Yeah.
forth through
Yeah.
dimensions and such would make complete sense, because it's just like, otherwise, where are they all hiding? You know,
Yeah.
it's insane. So you've had, Dogman and Goatman encounters as well?
Yeah. The Dogman, was when I was younger outside the window, and the Goatman
Yeah.
is a subject where I don't really share that much because I'm still trying to understand it.
Yeah,
But
that's
there's still sightings
yeah.
across Navajo Nation to this day. All corners seen him, mainly on mesas, and that's where I ran into mine. Was on
Wow.
a mesa where we grew up on. Um,
Mhm,
a lot of good memories on that mesa, except one of these nights where we're up there around 11 or 12 at night,
mm,
and this was probably 2010, 2009. I was up there with two of my cousins,
mhm.
and there's the nearest neighbor lives about 4 miles away, and they have street lights. That's one of the best protections you can have on the Navajo Nation, is have a street light, because that will keep Bigfoot away. He doesn't like to be in the light.
Yes. Yeah.
And so,
Mhm,
the nearest street light, the light pollution can reach that far, a few miles, and we can see pretty well on the mesa because
mhm,
the light that's giving off.
mhm.
And it's strange because one moment I was with two of my cousins, and I think they wandered off without me. I probably was looking at the stars a little bit too much, a little too longer, and I turned around. I was by myself. I was like, "Oh, geez, all right, where my little
Great.
brothers go?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "I'm not gonna whistle. I'm not gonna call for you guys because someone else is gonna call."
Gonna say it quietly
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
and go
looking,
unnoticed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
looking, and as I was walking, I seen one of my cousins. He was hunched over,
Mm,
looking at something down, and I wasn't sure. And I was making my way towards him. As I was making my way towards him, I was looking, left and right. Where's the other one? Where's
mm.
he at? Where's he at? I see one. Let me go. Let me get to him right now. And as I was getting closer to him, I was calling his name. He wasn't responding. What
Mhm.
is wrong with you? And I got right next to him. I bumped him in the shoulder. I was like, what are you doing? And then he's looking at something. I looked down. I thought he was looking at a white rock, but it wasn't no white rock. This this thing had a goat's head and a body like it was on all fours, and out of its behind, a sheep head came out. I this is what I seen. A sheep head came out, and their neck grew, and the sheep heads came like right up to mine, and the goat head went right up to my cousin,
Mm.
and their mouth started moving, and I walked off. I turned, I walked off, and
It's like, nope. Yeah, I've done
yeah.
that. Nope.
No, thank you. I choose life.
Yeah. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. On an need to know basis, and I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. I walked off, and I had to recuperate, and I turned around, and I couldn't find I don't know how many minutes passed, and I couldn't find him.
Yeah.
And I started walking around the mesa. I was like, oh my gosh, man. I had my fists clenched. I was like, if something comes out, I'm gonna punch it. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. Oh,
and
hell
two of
no.
my cousins' voices were down there at the mesa. They're like, what are you doing up there? I'm like, what the?
There's a goat man up there. Bro,
So
you need to come down.
like, just hang on. And so I was like, all right, don't panic, just make your way down the middle of this mesa. So as I was making my way down the mesa, these rocks were being tossed at me, and I was hearing hoof steps wandering around me in the dark.
I'm going to put this comment back up again. Oh, hell no.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be the comment of the night, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, hell
Yeah.
no. Right.
Yep. And
So
then,
that's
then,
terrifying.
years later, not too long ago, I asked my cousin. I was like, "You remember that one time we're up in the mesa?" Yeah. I was like, "Did you see a goat person or a goat man?" He stood up and he looked at me and huge smile. He's like, "You seen it too?" I was like, "Yeah, I walked up to you. I told you what you're looking at, and I seen that. I walked off." He's like, "Yeah, why'd you walk off?" That thing was whispering. Yeah, I was like, it was whispering. I walked off. As I'll forget that, man. I'm out of here.
I think you were taking one for the team that night, Don.
Oh,
It's just like insane.
oh man. Yeah.
So Kitty says the Navajo police do take calls about Skinwalker reports, and they do respond, so they take it very seriously.
Yeah, but they won't touch them. They'll ask the person that called to tie him up or handcuff them themselves. Yep.
Wow.
Or they'll send a Navajo police officer that's not traditional to go handle that Skinwalker.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody wants to touch them. I guess I would just mark you.
They stink.
Oh, that too. I've heard that. So that is a factual thing.
Yeah. They really stink.
Beautiful. So ET has his disdain for electric lights, Wayne says. So you've also had ET encounters up there. Are you an experiencer? Like, have you been taken? Do you think? No? You sure?
No. Wait, I was kidding.
I'm kind of wondering because you've had everything else happen to you. So
I might. Who knows? But I seen more UFO. I seen more of that more than anything else.
Oh, you'd have lots out there, wouldn't you?
So
so open sky, it's quiet.
Yeah, and then you hear something coming over like oh, hey, that's ET, he's back.
Get off the Yeah.
Hide the LED lights, the solar lights. They like those lights. There's a lot of stories of them coming down. Remember with the solar lights, the LED? There's like 3 of them be around that lights, messing around with it. Yeah. And one of the stories that happened to family members, the same area on the Navajo Nation, Miami Valley. So we have that same mesa. So that mesa is 2 miles long by 3/4 wide, and we play hide and go seek all over it. It's my favorite place. And the people that hide have no flashlights. The only ones that seek have the flashlight. So
Right.
we have to be 2s or 3s. It was preferably 3,
Hmm.
just in case you get jumped. So,
Yeah.
um, and I've heard.
Oh no, he says he's heard that sound too. It's not cool. Yeah.
So, one of the uncles, he's a few years older than me. He crawled off the mesa, and he decided that he didn't want to be found. He crawled off the mesa, probably like about 50 yards away, and he was hiding behind a bush. And he was looking at what was going on up there. And he said the one rock pebble hit him from behind. He looked. There was nothing. Just desert, bushes, sagebrush.
Hmm.
The second one hits him, nothing. And the
Hmm.
third one, he flips around really quick, and he said that there's this huge, huge old alien head with the almond eyes, with his hands right over the bush, looking at him. And
Hmm.
everyone heard him scream. He ran all the way back up the mesa. Everyone had to stop playing hide and go seek the night, and
Hmm.
he was panic attack. And only thing he did the next day was draw it out what he seen, and he did a good job drawing it out.
Yeah.
We get that. That's one of the things that happen when you play hide and go seek at night when you shouldn't. That's what we always do. We like to. And fast forward
That's why all
to
these things happen to you.
probably, probably,
Yeah,
probably.
things go
Yeah,
and
my grandmas and my grandpas like, what I tell you, stop it.
I know. Quit bringing stuff home.
Yeah, but
You wonder
but
why
it's a
things are
rush.
looking in your windows and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's a rush like no other though. It's like
yeah.
you
I
know
w
that there's
I would do the
there's
same. I would do the
uh,
same. I would let
yeah,
I like
hit
being
you
out
with
at
the
night.
stick, and poke you twice. What are you gonna do?
With the stick, goat man.
Let me touch you with a stick.
Poke the goat man with the stick, see what happens.
Yeah. I don't know about the goat man. I think they'll
No,
walk around him
no.
again. They're like, nope.
Oh my god, yeah, see, that's what Wayne says. He goes, "Hide and seek, go directly to the mothership, no coming home."
Ooh, ooh. I think his
No.
ship is invisible.
Well,
That's the
that's what
only
he
thing.
he had an experience. Yeah, because
Oh,
this was our home actually. He was home the one night, and we don't have it anymore. But he said the craft that made that sound went over the house in January of that
oh,
year and felt so close. And you could feel like a vibration. I've had that happen as well. And when you look up, you couldn't really see anything. So it was just
wow.
that buzzing sound or that little whistling sound that you hear.
Yeah. Like one
So,
time, we left my wife's family's house like around it's probably 1 in the morning.
mhm,
We're in this area on the reservation. Um, we seen what looked like lights, pulsating lights
mm,
right over us. And we're going up a hill, and there's this trailer, like about probably 400 yards away from the highway. And this light, is changing colors and shapes. We're looking at it while we're driving on the highway.
mhm,
My wife and my 2-year-old at the time, and this thing shoots a light down into that trailer.
mhm,
Then a bright light goes into that light into that craft, and then that craft zips over like
mm,
at least a half a mile to another trailer.
mhm,
And it beams a light down into that trailer, and the light goes into that craft, and that
mhm,
craft goes straight up, and that craft starts changing shapes and colors, shooting different lights.
mm,
And I had my phone on it, and um, it was getting off different patterns of light. This thing started going up higher and higher, and it
mm,
started making its way to Grand Canyon. I noticed that the UFOs go to Grand Canyon a lot.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
uh, I possibly witnessed a abduction.
You did witness an abduction?
My wife and I. Yeah,
Oh.
it was over those trailer homes.
Mhm,
Yeah, so it made pickup. And um then another night around the same area, we are going up this huge steep hill. And up in the sky, a gigantic square, like a giant window in the sky opened up, like someone opened the window and it was daylight coming through, like it was
oh,
noon.
crazy.
Yeah, this thing was so huge in the sky, like a gigantic square. Then it shut, and it was normal. And I was with my brother-in-law, and I was like, "Did you just see that?" He's like, "Yeah, I just seen that." I
Do you
don't
think it
know
was
what
like a portal of sorts, or do you think or is it a door of a craft that's cloaked? I go for
it's a
that.
door. I think it's a door. What
Yeah, a door,
what
like in
came?
a craft
Yeah,
opening up, it's cloaked, to all you would see is the
it
light
remind
coming.
me. It remind me of the Truman Show.
It does. Yeah. That's twice that's come up this week. I was just saying that the other day. I feel like I'm living in the Truman Show. See,
Yeah,
that's insane.
yeah.
So you
Like someone's
have
like, oh, I forgot it's nighttime. My bad. Close the window.
turn it down,
Whoops.
yeah.
That guy's get fired.
It just
But,
might be. Yeah, we're all like, we're all part of the ones living the experience.
yeah.
So you have all this stuff happening. You make mention of lizard men, which would be like reptilians, which are ET races. So
Yeah.
you've had encounters with them as well.
Oh, actually, a lot of my witnesses that like I started them investigating it since 2017
Hmm.
to 2016, 2017, and they actually have a cave. One cave's for lizard men, the other cave's for Bigfoot, and the other cave's for skinwalkers. And then the ETs, they actually have their own cave, and it's also an entrance to Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
And these reptilians, they come out and they can cloak. And my
Yeah.
wife's family, they had pictures of one chasing my her uncle while he's climbing up the mountain. This thing was trying to grab his leg. When he was standing up, there was taller reptilians by trees watching him. They couldn't see it with their naked eye, but when they took pictures,
You could see
you can
them.
see it. And then like you get these electrician lineman workers that go up
Yeah.
to the mountain.
Yeah.
A lot of times they said these reptilians would come out and speak to them in Navajo, saying not one grain of dirt, not one rock leaves this mesa. They want everything, to be
Yeah.
left alone as much as
They do.
possible there. Yeah,
Yes.
and I have a lot of doing this investigation. I have witness people that actually worked up there and put in the lines. They actually have seen a lot of Bigfoot tracks, and
Hmm.
whenever they go up to that mountain, they take a lot of dog food. They make sure to leave the dog food out for them.
Wow.
Yeah,
So they don't, I mean, they pretty much keep to themselves. Reptilians are funny because some people say they've had pretty decent experiences with them. Like they didn't fear them. They just received messages and so on. But there are others who just like say they've not had,
yeah.
the flip side of that.
Hmm. And one of my good friends, he actually seen one out in another part of the reservation. That I have yet to have some um tribal members tell me how they fit into our stories. The lizard man. There
Mhm.
is a few stories, but I've yet to find a really good one where I can have someone come on my podcast and talk about it. But while he was hunting out on the eastern side of the Navajo Nation, he said that he was looking in his binoculars and he seen like a huge hen, but it was green, climbing up on a tree. And I looked over. He said it had a reptilian head and a long tongue. This thing was huge. And he said they walked up towards it, and this thing jumped off the tree, and they felt the ground move when it landed, and it
Wow,
ran
that's
down into
heavy.
the canyon. Yeah, it
Yeah,
ran
that's
down
heavy.
into the canyon. And they got to the edge of the canyon and looked through the binoculars. This thing was hiding behind the tree, watching them. This is
Well, they're
legends are
believed
so.
to be like inner Earth, or like dwellers through
Yeah,
cave systems and tunnels and things
yeah.
like that. And it's
That
believed
mountain
that they've
has a
been there the
lot.
whole time. They've been here
Yeah,
long before us.
all these mountains here in the southwest aren't natural. They're all made from lava tubes and lava vents. So all these caves are vast tunnels,
Yes.
vast caverns. So if you
Yes.
ever looked at the Dallas Cowboy Stadium, just imagine four of them stacked on top of each other. That's how big these holes are down there.
Yes.
Huge, huge. So they're empty.
Yes.
There's a lot
Yes.
of
And
there's a lot
that's
of
what's under your feet.
yeah, yeah. These rakes,
Hate to
these
be
rakes,
that guy, Don,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah.
These
Yeah.
rakes take the cows in there. They'll eat them right at the mouth of the cave too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's insane.
Hmm.
Um, they're everywhere. If it's any consolation, they're, reptilians are said to be everywhere. I mean, I've gotten reports from so many people who have seen them. I mean, you go back to different parts of the country. I mean, it was even been in the newspapers
Mhm.
in California, especially because
Wow.
people have no basements.
Yeah.
So there was one report. A woman had said that something broke through the floor of her house into a closet. She saw it coming out, and it was a reptilian. And there were explorers that went down. One was, I think, a scientist, and they found a whole tunnel system beneath the
Yeah.
city. So, and that's a busy place. Can you imagine out your way where it's a
Oh,
little
yeah. What
more
they,
quiet?
yeah, a lot of the stories, the older ones tell us that if we are out while the moon is full, Bigfoot takes us. He's gonna take us down there, and down there you're gonna see shoes, moccasins, clothes, weapons from
Wow.
all different periods of time.
Wow. So do you think it's the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot, or do you think it's the reptilians?
It's Bigfoot.
Because I mean, I get mixed reviews about Sasquatch. I mean, there are a lot of different oral history and folklore where say that they will attack people, and then there's been other people just like, no, they like the family leaving them food, and they become very protective of that territory and that family.
I don't know. Doing this for 8 years and also being a witness and a survivor.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
stick to the
tackled.
evidence.
Yeah.
I'll stick to
Yeah,
the
I
evidence.
have to give it to you there, Don. You got
Because
tackled for sure.
I can go on for days on all my witness accounts, and it's scary.
Yeah.
Some good stuff.
So did you have
Um,
anything that's actually benign on your reservation? Like the little people. Little people have to be benign, or are they tricksters?
yeah,
They are,
yeah. The
right?
tricksters, they like to
S-
stalk women and children while they're herding their livestock.
Oh.
Yeah, they'll show their teeth, and then if they're camping alone, they'll come and harass them all night. And if you try to
Oh.
chase them, they'll jump in their little portal. And then like they're also
Wow.
their portals are if you see a lightning that struck a tree. So we're told not to touch those. And then if you do bother it, it's an entrance to Hollow Earth. Is where the little people can come out of.
Oh.
And I did test that theory
Okay.
with my kids. I had a lot of throwing knives. I was
Mhm.
throwing it at this tree that the lightning struck, and all the night we lost about 3 throwing knives. Gone.
So you had,
We
yeah.
yeah, we only threw 3, all 3 disappeared, and I was like, "We're not throwing the rest of this." I can't explain to you how, but that when the lightning strikes a tree, that's a portal for the little people, and that is true. My knives disappeared,
Yeah.
and
See,
then
now you
Bigfoot
peak.
makes his nest right next to that tree too. I found his nest that he makes
So do you
by that
think it's
tree.
because there's a portal there, that it's created some kind of a portal
Yeah.
because the lightning has struck there? That's of curiosity. I have to say, you've had me saying that quite a bit tonight because I'm just it's not often that you get to actually hear so many stories from one location all come together with like so much. And something else that piqued my curiosity, of course, as entrance into inner earth. And we talked a little bit about or mentioned a little bit about are they wraiths? Are they the rakes? Rake. Those things are freaking creepy.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain to everybody what a rake is? Go.
It's like a being that's has long limbs. It's backwards. Its limbs are backwards,
Yeah.
and it's probably like 12 to 14 feet tall, all pale, skinny. But these things are strong. They'll drag an entire cow in a cave, and once you shine your light in there, these things won't care if your light is on them. These things will keep eating. And
Hmm.
they're not the only things that are in there. We have a gargoyle that flies out. He has
So I
gray
don't mind
skin.
gargoyles.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
mind those. No,
These
I don't
things are
mind those.
huge.
Yeah,
These
yeah, I
things
don't
have
mind those.
horns, tails, gray
Yeah,
skin.
yeah.
So I have witnesses from Navajo Nation to Apache reservations, Apache police officers and EMTs all have had eyes on this flying being.
Wow. Amazing. I've heard a lot of, people and remote viewers and things like I see them. And I mean, I've had them apparently come onto the property and stuff like that. And it's just sort of, I don't know, never bothered me.
Yeah.
So, but I
Yeah.
mean, maybe I don't have anything that's really interested in either. So, that could be it. But
Yeah.
so okay, so we'll come back to the rake. So where do they think this gargoyle obviously comes through some kind of a rift or a portal? And what does it do? Does it just kind of bop around, check people out? Is it killing livestock? Is it interacting at all, people? Or
My government insider said down in Tucson they like to pick up hitchhikers and they'll eat them. Or if not, they eat their insides.
oh, so they're nasty. Well, I mean, one would think,
Yeah. The
as a
government
gargoyle would be.
yeah, the government knows about them, and the government also knows about the 23 different Sasquatch species.
Wow. Isn't that
Yeah,
interesting?
yeah. We have the Men in Black on the Navajo Nation that crisscross. They happen to be there within moments' notice for some reason, and they have a plastic gun that you'll see tucked on their side. That's an EMT where they shoot these little UFOs down. They recover. Um,
Wow. So what don't you have? Maybe I'm doing this wrong.
I
It's just like,
don't know.
wow, that's phenomenal. So I mean, it's like you have this super highway of
We also have the cube. There's this cube that's in the Wash Canyon. It shoots
yeah.
out lights and electricity. It makes its own little thing, like a little ship's little transformer type deals. And
Mhm,
actually, the cube like shoots off lights all the way around, like it's having a little disco by itself. And it's a
mhm.
metallic cube.
Hmm.
Yep, I actually seen that in the sky as well. And a lot of witnesses here. It
Mhm,
does weird, strange things. It likes to go in these slot canyons where no
mhm,
one is, especially Bigfoot. He likes
mhm.
to hang out in there. So don't go
Yeah.
spotlighting at night.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not surprised at all that the governments and militaries know about them. I mean, there are many accounts. One that I've mentioned on here before because we had someone in the chat room is when St. Helen erupted. There were witnesses who saw the military taking out, I think, 3 different Sasquatches by a helicopter off that mountain. And
Mhm.
then if you look up, if you have you ever researched the land between the lakes? Which is, I think the north, if I'm not mistaken, could be reversed, but it's a very, very prominent area for Bigfoot and Dogman. And the
Mm,
witnesses have actually seen military with a Dogman and like
mm,
in the back of a truck. So, weaponizing, examining, but they fight these dogmen and the Bigfoot. And there have been a lot of casualties. It used to be a community that, the government military just said, no more, no more community. You guys, they turned it into a national park. So people who come camp there've been a lot of casualties from both sides of these cryptids. So it's fascinating to me that you also have this blend and they tend to be fairly aggressive. But getting back to the rake, what like what are they doing? Are people just seeing these things? People have captured these things on cameras and their video or their security cameras. They're like, I have to say, I do not freak out and wig out easily, but I have to say those are intriguing, yet they sort of make your skin crawl a little bit.
mhm. Yeah. I was gonna I was gonna go back to another thing earlier. I just lost the train of mind.
You go
But the
any way
rate
you want. We have time. So, you have half an
I
hour,
was
my
gonna
friend.
I was gonna say, over on the reservation, they don't take out bodies by helicopter. They take them out by semi with a huge coffin, like big black box. But Bigfoot's always hanging out his body, so the box can never close.
Oh, wow. So they have
Yeah,
captured them, eh?
killed
Th
them.
wow.
Locals, Yeah, because Bigfoot likes blood, so he gets into these corrals on the Navajo Nation, and he holds up the sheep by the back legs, and he breaks the neck where
Oh,
the blood comes out, and he drains it out. He throws that one down, and the blood's out. He chases
goes for
after
another
another
one.
one, and so he does the whole livestock. And this one lady,
Hmm.
she's seen that this thing is chasing her sheep and drinking all his blood. She's crying. She called her family. Three family members pulled up with some rifles, and
Wow.
they laid it down. They put the
Wow.
big blonde guy down. It was a huge blonde Bigfoot.
Because see,
And
I've read that in some states, and I've had researchers say the same, that it's illegal to kill them. I mean, on the nation, obviously, that's your, you have your own police, you have your own, but some states, I think California was one of them. It's like, no, you
interesting.
can't. I know, and I don't know how much truth there is to it, but people have mentioned it. They're like, well, you can't just murder them. I'm like,
Yeah,
I understand that. I mean, no one has ever captured one, is what they're saying. People like, why do we never find bodies? But you're saying very easily, no, there are some.
yeah. People have captured him, but there's so wild that they would just sit down and die. It's even you can do some research. The government did capture one before. It just
Mhm.
sat down, didn't eat, didn't drink. It died
Wow.
because it realized that it's no longer free. So
Hmm.
these things cannot be captured. They have to be free. If they're in a confine, then they're just going to sit there and kill
Hmm.
themselves, starve themselves up.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. So it basically definitely does not lend to the theory that none have ever been captured, or researchers are like, if they just die in the woods, why are we not finding them? Do you
Mhm.
think that they take their own away into a cave system or portal or
They,
wherever it is they come from?
either they bury them or they eat them, because I'll go back to this one researcher on the Navajo Nation back
Yes.
in 2010s. So his name is JC Johnson. You can look him up on YouTube.
Hmm.
Four Corners Cryptid was his channel.
Hmm.
So they actually got a hold of a hair sample from
Hmm.
chasing one, and they took its DNA. They spliced it. They found his mom is Native American and
Hmm.
his dad is unknown. And they separated both genes. They said the dad is bulletproof. They introduced it to a dog, a cat. It combined with all different animals.
Hmm.
So he called it the fallen angel gene.
Interesting. I know I say that a lot tonight, but
That's
I'm just kind of like, wow.
good.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Believe me, it's hard to get me to go speechless, but you're definitely accomplishing it. Um, no, that I have never heard that before. I have never heard that.
Yep. He
S-
mysteriously died not long after that.
Yeah, that's a kitty. Yeah, or yeah, that's very sad. Oh, so did anything ever come of his research with that?
Not that I know of, but
Hmm.
it's on YouTube for all of us to enjoy still.
Yeah, which is great, which is great.
Yeah.
Have there been others like that
Uh
you know of, or was he sort of
probably, but not really well known.
mhm,
Um, I'm sure there's some, but for
mhm,
us Navajo, it's a big no. We're
mhm,
not supposed to. If we follow him, they say he's going to carry us off with him. And if we keep following him, there's going to be a big giant rock on top of our tent where we sleep. Or if that doesn't happen, if we are laying there, there's
mhm,
going to be a big boulder on our head only if we keep
mm,
following him. So we got a lot of loggers that get uh, huge basketball sized rocks tossed at them, and
mhm,
even huge tree logs tossed at them. And Bigfoot sounding like the Hulk, raw, 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 yelling. And he actually did toss a wall rock down on us once as well. And when he ran off, it sounded like a helicopter propeller. Doo, 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 doo. So
hmm,
when he bothers you all night, when the sun comes up, he's running off. It sounds like a lot of horses running.
hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess they can pretty much target you. It seems as though do you feel that your community, as well through your ancestors, are sort of fighting for space, with respects to with all of these beings that are coming in, trying to it's like everybody wants to get their little piece of your land here, like you can be up here and you have Goatman come over here and you're witnessing an
Yeah.
abduction, or
We also
you're
have a
being
centaur too.
okay. So that has to be a portal thing for sure. That has to be a portal. That's crazy.
They have a hollow earth that they take. There's not one, not there's 3 entrances, probably even more that they come out. Their
Has a-
families.
has anybody gone down there at least part way to explore it, or is it one of those areas that your
Yeah,
ancestors are like, don't do it?
they do, but they never come back.
Wow.
But when they do come back, they're the same age.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So
They
portal,
they
like the
don't age. Yeah, they come back to teach a song or for a reason.
hmm
Yeah, that happens a lot within our culture history. A lot of our songs are chants.
hmm
Same thing. We go somewhere, we come back. A
hmm
lot of so this one time, these Navajos got separated from this little kid. He was being chased by these Pueblo tribe. They were the Spider Clan, so they're chasing around these mountains. And while he was running, this one a rabbit came across him. This rabbit told him to follow him. Follow me if you want to live. So he started following him. He jumped in the hole. He went in the hole with him. When he crawled down that tunnel, he was sitting there with a fire. There's a rabbit, a fox, a badger. I think it was a skunk. All of them are sitting there like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here with us? You're not supposed to be in here." And he's like, I'm running for my life." And they're like,
hmm
"Well, since you're here, let's teach him these songs." They taught him 9 songs.
Hmm.
And when he got done learning those 9 songs, those chants, and he came back to the earth, the surface. 3 generations passed. So his siblings, they had kids, and their kids had kids, and their kids had kids.
hmm
So, when he went back to his family settlement, they remembered him because their families talked about him. This was his name. This is how he looked. And then they
hmm
passed it on. He came back. And he fit that description. And
hmm
he left again. Another part of the mesa is another hollow earth entry.
hmm
Back in the 60s, a man disappeared, but he came back out in the 90s, the same age. He said
hmm
he's down there learning from the giants, some story like that, and he's gonna come back at another time again. And he went
hmm
back into the caves.
hmm
So we got strange stories like that.
It sounds a little bit, like the Hopi folklore of the ant people that were underground and helped them to safety during, cataclysm and so on. It sounds a little bit like that, like here, the rabbit, I'll
There's a
help you
lot of
come down.
reasons why. Yeah, we're told to stay out of them just because of them. Those guys.
Yeah.
The other tribe down in the Amazon, they call them the ant people, and they said
Yes.
that if you go down there, they're gonna take control of your mind and you're gonna be evil, or they'll take you down into the earth with them, and you're never gonna come back. So they're saying that you stay away from them ant people. Same thing with our culture. We're to stay away from them because they're gonna take us down into their earth, and we're never gonna be seen again.
hmm So,
So it's
and
like,
so this is a bad thing, like, because I mean, the Hopi revered these people or these experiences. Like for them,
mm,
they looked at them as saviors, and they were given prophecies and so on and so forth. But I mean, for you guys and for the Amazonian tribe, I guess it's like, nope, nope,
yeah,
again, no, hell no.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
that,
You mess around with those guys, then your mind's gonna go crazy. Then they're
yeah.
gonna consume you from here and take you into the earth.
hmm hmm
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's, I know. It's kind of like Jesus. But so I mean, what is next for you now? I mean, you primarily Bigfoot research, or are you paranormal? Anything goes, because I mean, Do you even have to leave the nation? Is it just it's all right there for you?
Yeah, yeah. Even the neighboring reservations too. They have their own correlations of similar things. I think it's the regional. I
Mhm.
think it's the whole region because this Colorado Plateau is very old and it's very haunted. So a lot of things happened in the past that keeps replaying, such as hauntings.
Mhm.
And seeing the ghosts, that's another can of worms.
Yeah,
And
right.
we're supposed to stay away
Yeah.
from the ruins because they
Ghosts
found
would
a
be the
lot of,
least of your issues, though.
yeah,
They
yeah,
would be like the least of your issues when you have all of this other stuff affecting you physically.
yeah.
I
That's why
mean,
I say like ghost hunting and all that. That's easy.
yeah.
Bigfoot. You have to work for it.
Oh, Bigfoot will make you work for it.
Yeah,
Physically, it's like a
yeah.
workout.
Yeah,
Um,
especially like one time, 3 in the morning, I was on his trail with my German Shepherd, and it's 3 in the morning, and looked like the sun came out. The whole sky lit up, and
mm,
I thought it was a falling star, asteroid, comet. The whole sky lit up, and then it took me a while, my
mm,
brain to process it. Like, this is not right.
yeah,
Looked up, and I seen a giant spear in the sky, pulsating orange. The
yeah,
whole area lit up. This thing was huge. And,
wow,
my jaw dropped. I was trying to get it. I didn't even get my phone out because I'm trying to get my jaw from off the ground, and I
yeah,
was mesmerized,
yes.
and it's one of the reasons why I had to stop uh, getting on his trail so late at night by myself. And I think I may have missed some time on that.
Uh, okay. When I say to you, John, do you think you've been taken? No. Missing time is usually a sign that you may have been taken.
Maybe, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
get into it.
Yeah, I probably could. I guarantee it would be a thing.
No probing happened. No probing took
No,
place.
yeah. I mean, and you wouldn't talk about it. What
I was
happens on
doing
the
the
ship
probing.
stays on the ship, Don. It's
If
like
anything
Vegas.
happened, I was doing probing. If anything, I was
It's
good.
it's like Vegas. Whatever happens on the ship stays on the ship.
Oh
Um,
man,
Wayne is asking, knowing like ant people, is it just a name, or do they actually look like ants? Because of course, race of beings that lived underground. Some people had mistaken maybe they could be a form of gray with the big heads and the big eyes, because
that's
they're
them.
skinny little
That,
dudes, right?
that's them. There's this pictograph in Utah where it has that alien ant head thing, and he has a halo above his head
And the
as
little
an antenna. Yeah, like a halo.
yes,
So he controlled all their minds, the Anasazi, and he made them do all kinds of horrible things,
wow.
consuming human meat, cannibalism, practicing that. Because if you look at researching all these Anasazi ruins, if you go
Mhm,
look in the community trash and look at
mm,
their pots, what they cook is all human flesh.
mhm,
Their feces is all human meat
mm,
that they ate.
mhm,
So, like the evidence is there.
mm.
So
It's
it's
there. What are your
it's not
thoughts
us.
on the Grand Canyon? Because you spent some time, obviously, there with your family. But what is your belief with that? Because there's belief, ancient civilizations and ancient cultures that goes back a long time. Suppressed
We yeah,
suppressed information.
yeah. That's where we came into this world. Some of our clans took refuge in the Grand Canyon from the flood.
Hmm.
We do have cultural ties to that area, and
Hmm.
that's where there's this cave where a big giant UFO sits and parks. He stays in there, and
Ah,
yeah, we're told to keep out of that cave. And then another cave is the Rex cave, and another cave is a giant bat's cave. This bat is giant. So
one of my
we
favorite things in the world are bats. So you can't tell me that there's a giant bat.
got yeah. So these
Yeah,
caves are all along the Grand Canyon that have
yeah.
something else dwelling inside of them.
Yeah,
And
Yeah, so of course, there's a theory that there's ancient structures in there from past civilizations as well. And if you go to, excuse me, one section of the canyon, which is now blocked off, you will be met by, I believe it's NATO or military. You cannot access it. And it's the same
Oh,
spot. You know the one I'm talking about, where they
the
believe that,
uranium.
yeah, they
Yeah.
believe that there could be, Egyptian artifacts there, or hieroglyphs, or there's just an ancient culture there that shouldn't be there, as they say, because
Mm,
how would they get to this side of the world?
mm,
Well, I would think that's just sort of suppressed information. But,
mm.
because I think the ancients, traveled and a lot more than we think they did. The technology was just way out there, right? So,
Oh yeah.
but fascinating. Oh, cat made it. Here you are. So sorry. Don't like having a weather migraine, but glad you made it.
Yo,
So
what's up, Cat?
there we go. Well, it has really been a pleasure having you on. My gosh, if you think there's anything we miss, I am so down for a part two because, oh my gosh.
I
Um,
didn't tell you about my skinwalker encounters. That could be another part.
oh, we're going to do that. Yeah, we can do that. Let's put something together and we'll do a part two. And I'll let you know my next available date is in May, but it'd be a perfect time to do it
Yeah, I can
if
tell
you're
you my
down.
Ouija board experience and my ghosts,
Uh,
seeing ghosts at my aunt's haunted house.
okay.
I can show you.
You want to do it? We'll put you down for part two. I'll just email you a couple of dates to pick.
Sure, yeah, why not?
You want me to share? I feel like I got to twist your arm there.
No, no.
Okay, so
I had to pause to leave you on
this
cliffhanger.
is where we're at. I'll let it go. I won't be offended. That's okay. No. So tell us about your podcast and where can people find you and where can they find your podcast? Which nights, that kind of thing.
Mm. You can find my podcast on YouTube, and we just really got into Spotify. You can subscribe to my channel. I have yet to make a website for my for the podcast Don't Whistle at Night. And the podcast is I'm really hoping that more Navajos from the Navajo Nation can come out and share all these wonderful experiences. I know I didn't see it all myself, and also reaching out to the other Native American communities.
Mhm.
I'm sure they have some good stories, and it just all goes back to being a child, hearing all these scary stories, and you know, there's
Yeah.
always a sense of wonder, in this world. It's
I
always
love
beautiful.
I I love it. Hey, CL, I love it. I do. Well, if you're looking for a network, I might be able to help you with that.
Sure,
So get you more views, more listens. And can't
awesome.
have too many is what I always say.
Oh
But
yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
well, I think this is fantastic, and I really want to thank you so much for coming on. And I anybody who knows me is like Michelle's never speechless. I started to be going, crap. I think I'm speechless. The Gateway Podcast, CL. Okay, we'll book you. I'll connect you. She's right here on the network, and she is awesome. She's Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and she is excellent, excellent show to be on. 1 hour Tuesday night. If you are interested in, thank you, my dear friend. Thank you. So we're just
Yep.
going to pass you around, Don. So,
Okay.
wow, Don broke Michelle. Pretty much thinking he might have. So, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Yeah, let's go for sure. See, it's true. Melissa knows. So yeah. So I will be in touch with you. I will have some dates, and I will connect you with CL as well. And we'll get you out there.
Sounds good.
And so will Sean. Sean, yeah, Into the Night, another one of our shows. See, already it begins. If you're willing, of course.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm
Yeah,
having
Don,
fun. I'm still new into the community, so you guys are showing me a warm welcome. Thank you.
Oh, are you kidding? This is information that definitely people want to hear.
Yeah. I was keeping it all like this, you know, and I was like, I'm not gonna be on the video. But
So it's
yeah, I
almost
think,
the way to go though, because
yeah,
you're cutting out a good chunk of people otherwise, because you have
yeah.
Rumble, you have, you've got
Oh,
yeah, it's a good one, right?
yeah. I think I weirded Will out a little too much. So he's like, you want to come on this podcast? I'm like, hey, sure, why not?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say. It's just laid back and it's a good time. So, but
Yeah.
no, I think it's fantastic, and I would love to have you on for part two. And obviously, people are lining up, and it's all Kat's fault because she started it. But a Paranormal Art podcast, yes, it's your fault. So now she
Thank you,
started a
Kat.
thing. Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
Oh no, that's wonderful. So you would actually be on two shows. So after Cat, then there's yeah, two shows after you. Tuesday night lineup. You could just do the whole darn night at this rate.
Let me check my Palm Pilot.
Exactly. We're gonna start. Thank you so much, Dawn. And I will be oh look at even CL's ready to start booking you up.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, you got a lot of people in here.
Uh yes, yeah, we're really fortunate. The audio listenership is massive as well. So we're
Awesome.
definitely going to get you worked out for sure. We got Howie as well, Howie on the Riff Network. So we're good. We're going to make this happen. And thank you for joining me this evening. And
Welcome.
I will be in touch with you. I'll send you an email in a little bit.
Yes. Thank
All
you.
right.
Fun.
Thank you very much. Well, everybody, it's been an unbelievable show to say the very least. So, big thank you to our sponsors, Folgers Coffee, Justin Snicker, Steve McGinnis. Big thank you to the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM. And tomorrow night, we have another new face, Derek Soul, and we're going to be exploring high strangeness and odd old news. And that's the name of his, I guess, his company, his Substack. He's always had a fascination with really old articles, newspaper articles going back to like the 1800s, as far as he could find them. And he has found crazy things in there that he's going to come in and share some of that with us. Like, what the really one I see a lot coming up, aside from like giant snakes, and John, you might be able to relate to this.
Oh, we have one.
Right? The Thunderbirds,
Oh yeah,
large,
we got this.
see the large eagles also just grabbing people and taking off with them. He has found
Yeah.
all these newspaper articles with this stuff, which has just been mind blowing to me. So I love it, and we're going to jump ahead to the Tuesday, since I don't have a lot of time to promote it. We're going to bring on Luke Eastwood, author of Scotia, the Lost Sister of Tutankhamun. Of course, you all heard me talk about this, and somebody actually wrote a book about it, so I'm really excited about this as well. So with that being said, catch the archives and watch for Dawn to return. Clearly, you're going to be watching for Dawn on a few other of our shows here on the network, which is great. And yes, Kat, I might have to return the favor and connect you with yes, as well.
All right, cool.
But anyway, goodbye, everybody. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.